everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus of Threshold of Hineni, and I'm here for kind of a fun tutorial. I'm actually not exactly sure what I'm doing. I have become more and more convinced that it's more worthwhile to let you in on my process as I figure out what I'm doing, and so that's what I'm doing. This is a design team project for Penny Whittemore, and her shop is That's Just Penny. I just had it here. That's Just Penny on Etsy, and I'll have a link for that below. Anyway, what I chose was her Magnolia kit, and I didn't print all of it because I'm not going to use all of it. I just printed certain pages that I think that I'm going to use. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a little wallet to carry my scripture memory cards in, and I'm probably also going to use the kit to make my actual scripture memory cards. And I'm planning for those to be 3x5, like this. So I'm going to use this as kind of my guide for how big I need it to be. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of the stuff that's on top of my cutting board so I can cut. That's always helpful. And I printed out on cardstock, I printed out 2 pages front and back of things that I think I might want to use for the actual wallet itself, because I'm really undecided. And then I printed out a bunch of papers, and these are not all the papers that are in the kit. These are just the ones that I chose to use, and I've printed different things on the front and back, so you'll see different aspects of those as we do them. I'm going to probably do some other things with this kit too. Like I was thinking of making a little, actually I can cut both these at the same time because the borders are the same. I was thinking of making not only the wallet, but maybe like a little portfolio with a notepad that I can carry in my purse or just carry around with me. So that's also coming up if I decide to do that. But for sure right now what I'm doing is this little wallet for carrying my memory verses in. I'm going through the book of 1 Peter right now, and I went through and chose which verses I might be memorizing. Okay, so to make this, let me see if we've got this, if this is big enough by itself. Yes, it is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little bit bigger than the size that we need. So this is 5 inches wide, and so I think we're going to go to about 6.5 inches. I think, let's see, 6.5. Yeah, because that'll give us room to stitch on the sides, and it'll also give us a little bit of wiggle room on the inside. So I really like this. I like both of these actually. Which side do I want? I'm going to do 6.5 inches. I think I like this side the best. So I'm going to go with this side. I'm going to cut it like this, which is really nice because it leaves the whole design of this side intact, so we can use that for something else. Okay, so this part is like so easy, and like I said, I printed this on cardstock, and that makes a big difference because when I was first making these wallets, because I've made quite a few of them, I was just using regular weight paper, and then I was having to sew 2 of them together, or maybe even sewing a part of a manila folder inside of them, and so you know, it was just more complicated. This makes it a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this, and then I've already got the inside printed, so it looks really pretty, but I'm going to fold this so that the card can fit in, but it's not going to be completely swallowed up by it. Okay, so we're going to fold it up. And I'll measure in just a second, and I'll tell you how much I just folded it. And I'm looking for my, since I'm not planning this out ahead of time, I didn't plan to have my bone here to crease it, but that's fine. I just used a pen for that. Okay, so how did I do it? I did it, it's 2.5 inches up. So that way my verse cards will stick up some, and I'm gonna have some other little slots in it probably too. Okay, so then I'm not gonna bring this all the way down. I'm just gonna bring it down enough to overlap it a little bit right there. Okay, and I'm gonna crease that really well. This part is like so easy. All right, and I think I'm done with the cutting board, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, just a minute. I do want to find my envelope maker if I can. Here we go. Okay, so, sorry, everything's a mess. I'm not going to apologize because that's just how I am. Okay, so I want to round my corners, and so I'm using my We Are Memory Makers envelope punch board, and I'll link that below too. If you stick it in the corner here, then you can get nice rounded corners, which I really, really like. And so I'm going to do that. Okay, and then I'm also going to round these corners. I don't always round this particular corner, but I kind of like to. And then I need to decide if I want to use my blue distress ink or my brown for this. And I think I'm going to use the blue for the outside at least, and use the brown for the inside. So I'm going to do the brown first because it's lighter. Okay, so I'm just distressing around the edges. It just kind of makes the edges stand out, and it gives it, I don't know, it just gives it a nice look. Even if I'm not going for a vintage look, and by the way, this color is Vintage Photo. Even if I'm not going for a vintage look, I like the way that it looks worn. That's kind of what I'm going for, is more worn, not so much vintage. And I get it not just on the edge, but a little bit on the page itself. You really want to make sure that you get the corners, because the corners are the part that would get worn the most. And this part here is actually going to be folded in, so I don't really need to do that. But I don't know, I do it anyway because you never know when it's going to like come apart a little bit or something as you use it, and it just looks nicer if it's all finished the same. Okay, and then I want to also do the creases, because of course if this was really worn and used, it would, the creases would be kind of yellowed or browned also. I just realized that my camera is not positioned the way that I normally have it, because I just did a Bible study and so it's down a lot lower. So I hope that I've been in, that you've been able to see everything that I'm doing. Okay, so there we go. So now we're going to do the blue around the outside, and this is chipped sapphire. I really like it. It's taken me a while to get to where I really like it, but I do. And again, I'm going to do the creases as well. There we go. And since I've got brown in here, I'm going to open it up to do it. I normally would kind of hold it closed and let some of it get on the inside to kind of reinforce that if I was using the same color as the inside. But since I'm using a different color, I'm going to keep it out separate here. And I don't try to get it all even, you know, because if it was being aged naturally, it wouldn't age exactly evenly. So, yeah. But see, doesn't that look cool? It just really defines it, I think. And see how I get a little bit extra on the corners. I love distressing ink. It's really fun. I don't know if you're selling stuff, then the time that you use to distress stuff probably really eats into your profits. But to me, it's just a really nice touch. And I'm making this for myself. I might make some to sell in my Etsy shop, I don't know. But for now, I'm just making this for myself. So if you want one, let me know and I'll make some. Okay, so I've got that. I want to put some lace along the edge here, and I've got a few different laces to choose from. I think I want to go for this kind of beige-ish lace. I really have kind of fallen in love with this cotton kind of lace lately, so I think I'm going to use that. So I'm just measuring along the edge here, and I'm going to cut it right there with my fabric scissors. Okay. And you can use glue. If you've watched me do anything, you know that I absolutely love to sew, and so I sew as much as I can. But most people use glue, and that's really, really okay. One of the things that I like about sewing it is that it adds some texture to it. So if you have a sewing machine and you like to sew, go for it. Okay, I don't pin it or anything. I'm just going to Do I want to have it under or on the top? I think I want it on the top because I really like the edge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on here. I zigzag pretty much everything, and I don't worry about the color of thread. I have kind of a gold thread in here right now, if you can see the machine. I'm not sure if it's where you can see it or not, but I'll show you when I'm done. Little angel is getting in the way there, and I think I may have even gone off the lace while I was doing that. Okay. No, oh yeah, I did go off a little bit. I'll have to say that. Okay, so you can see right there, you can see that it's kind of a gold color, and that looks fine with it. And it went off a little bit, and I'm not going to tear it out or anything. I'm not worried about it. For me, some of the charm of these things is that they're not perfect. And, you know, I even leave like the thread hanging and stuff. It's kind of a shabby chic thing, so I leave that thread hanging off there. My machine cuts it that way, but if you cut it yourself, you can just cut it short like that. Okay, so then we need to decide if we want any other adornment before we sew this up. I might put like a button or something right there. I've got a bunch of my husband's buttons, and at the time that I'm recording this, he passed away just 2.5 weeks ago, so it would be really special to have one of his buttons on here. And actually, I think I might do more like a shank button so that I can wind a ribbon or something around it. Nope, that's too that's too white. I don't know if I have a shank button out that's the right color. I don't really want metal. It's too white. I usually am looking for the flat button, so that's what I've got here. So we'll go with the flat button. I've got a lot of navy blue, so why don't we do that? I like that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to do navy blue, and I think I'm going to put some of his yarn with it too. He was a knitter. He, for a living, he knit using vintage knitting machines, hand-operated knitting machines. And so that was really cool. So I'm going to tie this into a bow to put on top of the button. There we go. I just want it to be really little. I'm not quite sure how big I want it to be yet, so I'm not going to cut it yet. But let's put the button here, put the bow on it, and kind of see. Yeah, I think that's cute. I think that's really cute. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that a little bit so that the bow's not hanging too low. The button went under there. Okay, and I'm just going to glue the button on to the center there. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I want to do a little bit more sewing. I mean, you could do it without doing this, definitely. But like I said, I like the texture of sewing. So I am going to sew all the way around the edges. I'm not going to sew this part just yet because I'll sew that when I put my little pockets in. You know, with this one, because I'm just putting in memory verses, I don't think I'm going to have any pockets. I think I'm just going to keep it really, really simple. So it's just going to be like this. So let's just go ahead and sew that now. We've already sewn along the top here. So I'm going to sew this part from this corner. And again, I'm zigzagging. And you can skip this step if you're not sewing. Obviously, you don't need to sew it. When I get to the bottom, because I don't want to take up a bunch of the space on it, I am going to switch to my straight stitch. Okay. And I'm going to just sew right along the very, very bottom edge just to make it nice and sharp and to give it that stitching on there because I just like the way that it looks. So it's just like right along the edge. That was my angel that I just knocked over. Okay, and then I'm switching back to zigzag. Okay, and you can see I'm sewing this side together here. This is so easy, you guys. It's like, I mean, you'll see it's less than half an hour and you're done. Okay, so I've got that. Okay, and if you're gluing it, if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't feel like sewing, you're just going to glue right inside here, right where you put these two parts together, and that's it. You're just folding it up like that. That is your finished basic thing. And then any decorating that you want to do. So like I'm going to go ahead and put this button on here. Hopefully I can get the glue to come out fairly quickly. And when I glue buttons on, I put a ton of glue. And since I've got the lace there, I don't want it to go through and glue the thing shut. So I'm going to put my ruler underneath it just to give it some protection. And then I'm going to put that bow on top of the button. So I'm putting some more glue. This glue is wonderful. It's Crafter's Pick Ultimate Glue. It dries completely clear, so I don't worry at all about, you know, there being a glop of glue here or anything. I probably will kind of dab at it some just because I do have a ton here. But it doesn't show it glows. Yeah, it dries completely clear, and yeah, I've been very, very happy with it, and it holds really well too. Okay, see how I got it all over the button? That's okay. It's going to dry completely clear, so I don't need to worry about that. Okay, I want to trim the edge of my lace here just a little bit and round that kind of. So I'm going to do that right now. There we go. And this one just a little bit. This one was already kind of heading in that direction, so I don't need to trim as much off. So that's that. And I didn't get my button exactly centered, but that's okay. And then I think what I'll do is I'll probably put like a little bit of Velcro here and here. So I think I'm going shopping this afternoon and I'll buy some Velcro, and that's it. That is it. You guys, the only thing that I have to do is add a little bit of Velcro here and here as a closure. I'm done. And this makes a nice little, it's paper. It's not, like leather or something, but it makes a nice little wallet for carrying your coupons in, or like I'm doing my memory verses. You know what? This glue is still wet, so I can actually move that. I'm never precise about this, but let's go ahead. It's 6.5 inches, so 3 1/4 is what we want, so that's good. Okay. You could put all kinds of things in here. You could put this in your purse to gather ephemera for your junk journal. You could use it for your coupons. You could use it, a lot of times I make it with more little dividers in it, and you could use that for keeping track of your receipts, or even like money that's budgeted for different things. It's just a really easy thing to do, and I've seen a lot of people do this, so I don't really know who to credit it with. But you can see it took less than half an hour to do, even with me explaining to you what I was doing. So anyway, that's it. And next time we will work on the Bible verse cards to go in it. I love you all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.